Like I said, on the Facebook group that I was on, they weren't really supportive. And after I found the carnivore diet, people would ask on the group seeking for help and support because they are where I was, and they're feeling completely hopeless and desperate. And they ask, what can I do for the pain? And then I would comment there and say, hey, I did the carnivore diet. It helped with my symptoms, and my symptoms improved. It may or may not work for you, but just try it. But it was strange for me to see that my comments would still be removed. And that's when I did some digging and I saw that the moderators of the group actually.
Chané, how did you find Carnivore?
So I actually accidentally stumbled upon Carnivore. I was sick of being sick all the time. So I went to a doctor that has a more natural approach to things. She prescribed the ketogenic diet to me alongside a bunch of natural medication. So I started with the ketogenic diet and my symptoms improved a little bit, but I still had a lot of pain. And since childhood, I've hated veggies a lot. I couldn't stomach them. They made me nauseous. It's like my body's telling me they are no good. And with this ketogenic diet, it was just meat and low carb veggies. So I really struggled with the veggie part and I had to force feed myself the veggies. And then one day I just decided I can't do this force feeding thing. And out of frustration, I said, maybe I should only just eat the meat. And that's what I did. And within 4 days, my symptoms improved completely. And within a few weeks, all of my conditions improved, and I saw a significant difference. So I basically, after my symptoms started to improve, I did some digging because now I have this question. Is there anyone out there who only eats meat and is still alive and can tell this story? Because we are all being taught that veggies are important. You need fiber, you need vitamin C. What about cholesterol? So I had all of these questions and I went on YouTube and I came across, of course, Dr. Anthony Chafee and Dr. Sean Baker. And I also came across quite a few YouTube channels, including yours, about testimonials of people who had medical conditions and their medical conditions improved. And I thought, okay, what do I have to lose? I'm already in extreme pain and I'm on 14 different medications. And that was an improvement from the 24 different medications that I was before. And I knew that carnivore diet will help with my digestive problems and my IBS. But I didn't realize at that point that it will literally help with all of my medical conditions and that I will get my quality of life back. So it's basically since age 9, I've been battling with my health. At age 22, I was told that my body doesn't produce the essential hormones, progesterone and testosterone, and I will have to be on supplements for the rest of my life. At age 23, I realized that my iron levels were always going to be low, and I will have to use supplements for that as well for the rest of my life. And it seemed like the more medication I got, the sicker I got. And it reached a point where I went to a new doctor and she said to me, she doesn't know how to treat me because she can't distinguish between what are my real symptoms and what are side effects of all the medication that I'm on. Because at that stage, I was on 24 different types of medication, all with side effects. And she said to me, you are 24 years old. It's not normal to be on so many medication. And she said to me, maybe we should try and get you off some of these medication and see what's really going on. And even my dad said at that point that I'm medicating the side effects of my medicine at this point. So from age 25, my health deteriorated even more. So I suffered my whole life from what they called chronic UTIs, and I was regularly on courses of antibiotics. But from age 25, it turned into what I thought was constant UTI symptoms that I had, and I was literally from the one antibiotic course to another, until I went to a specialist, and eventually on age 26 I got diagnosed with what they call painful bladder syndrome, or interstitial cystitis, in short IC. So it mimics the symptoms of chronic UTIs, but it is actually a condition where you have inflammation of your bladder, and that causes all the pain and discomfort. They compare IC symptoms that is so severe. They compare the pain to having cancer and almost having a migraine in your bladder. So the pain was really bad. I was bedridden for almost a year, where most of the time I worked from bed. I had so much pain that I would be curled up in a ball on my bed on some days. And I'm thirsty, I'm hungry. Even if my fridge is only a few steps away from me, I had so much pain, I couldn't get up to just have something to drink. And that was very deliberating. Some of the IC patients have to claim from a disability fund. So it's really controlling every aspect of your life. And I started to join a Facebook support group for IC, and at that stage, I didn't realize that the moderators were actually selling some of their own products to try and help with the symptoms. And so every time you post there, they would just tell you there's no hope, there's nothing that you can do. You can try these medications, but the symptoms will be there. It's for the rest of your life. And only when I came across Carnivore, I realized that you can get rid of the condition's symptoms completely, as if you don't have this condition at all. Um, so my pain was usually so bad that I had to get up very early in the morning, because that's when the pain was less. And during that stage of my life, I was on a lot of medication, and especially pain medication. It reached a point where I would set my alarm clock for an hour earlier before I have to get up. Then when the first alarm goes off, then I would drink a bunch of pain medication, and then I would wait for an hour, knowing then the medication would start to kick in, and then I still had pain, but I can at least function a little bit. And I realized then that the path that I'm on is not really good, because sooner or later my organs will start to fail because of all the medications. And of course you have the concern of developing an addiction to pain medication. So I realized that the path that I'm on, it's not good. And I tried to search for solutions, and everywhere I looked, they just said there's no solution, there's no hope. And I'm a firm believer that for every problem, there's a solution. So I struggled a lot with depression and anxiety because I couldn't just accept the fact that I have these three incurable chronic pain conditions and there's just no effective treatment. They prescribe you a bunch of medication that might or might not work, and there's nothing that you can do about it. And that's how I ended up fast forward to the doctor that prescribed the ketogenic diet, and me being frustrated, eating only meat, and then realizing that my symptoms started to improve. And like I said, within 4 days, my IBS symptoms and my digestive symptoms improved. I was constantly bloated and my stomach was just flat. And usually I had stomach pain, severe stomach pain after eating, and I would lay on my stomach because of the pain, just trying to relieve the pain. I had burn wounds on my stomach after trying to relieve the pain with heating pads. And it was just all the pain medication was just a really, really bad place. And after a few weeks on the carnivore diet, my bladder symptoms started to improve as well. And I remember this specific morning when I woke up and I was still half asleep, and I realized that something is wrong. Something feels weird. My bladder feels light and floaty. I don't know what's going on. And it took me a few seconds to realize and to wake up properly and to realize that my bladder pain is gone, and that heavy pressure pain feeling that I'm so used to have is completely gone. And that is now for the first time in years that I had relief. And I remember getting out of bed and just deciding that today is a pain-free day. I'm just going to make the most of this day and just go out and do groceries and go shopping and do all the things that's normally a struggle for me. And I really enjoyed that. And I didn't know when the pain was going to come back, because they always say that you can have a pain-free day, but the pain will come back. It's incurable. And the pain never came back. And while I'm on carnivore, the pain and my symptoms completely disappear. And whenever I incorporate foods again, like all the carbs and alcohol and grains, then my symptoms would come back again. So that is how I know that it's the carnivore diet that's the solution and that's working for me. And my hope is to help other people that has the same conditions, that they know that there are ways to get your life back. Like I said, on the Facebook group that I was on, they weren't really supportive. And after I found the carnivore diet, people would ask on the group seeking for help and support because they are where I was, and they're feeling completely hopeless and desperate. And they ask, what can I do for the pain? And then I would comment there and say, hey, I did the carnivore diet. It helped with my symptoms and my symptoms improved. It may or may not work for you, but just try it. And then I know the group rules, so you always have to just state that you're not a medical professional. Before doing something with your diet, always seek professional help and consult your doctor, just to adhere to the group rules and not get any trouble. But it was strange for me to see that my comments would still be removed. And that's when I did some digging and I saw that the moderators of the group actually sell medication for IC. And they don't like the idea of someone telling the people that they can help, or the carnivore diet, simply changing your diet can improve your symptoms.
We can't have
Yes,
anyone in here giving free solutions.
yes, yes. And that's where I realized the whole, you have to question everything. You have to ask or question your doctor. My new quote is that listen to your doctor and then do the opposite. And if you have a doctor, go to different doctors and ask every doctor, hey, I'm on these medications, I want to get off of these medications, please help me. And if that doctor tells you, no, sorry, your conditions are incurable, you'll have to drink these medications and you'll have to see me on a regular basis, then it's a sign that you need to find a new doctor until you find some that can, tell you they will help you. So with my doctor, after the carnivore diet and my symptoms improving, I did blood work and my doctor phoned me, and she was actually really shocked because I told her I'm going to do a diet, but because of I'm afraid of judgment, and you know how doctors react when you tell them you're doing the carnivore diet. So I didn't tell her which diet I'm doing. And when she did the blood work, she phoned me and she said, well, listen, you don't need your hormone in medication anymore. You can come off of it. You don't need your iron supplements. Your iron levels are perfect. Your blood pressure is perfect. Your blood glucose is perfect. I'm really, really happy for you. And that's when I realized that, hey, the brain consists mostly out of cholesterol, so does your hormones. So increasing your fat intake will improve your hormones. And iron is mostly found in red meat. So if you eat more red meat, then your iron levels will stabilize. And I'm actually a life science teacher, so for years, I taught my learners that the antibodies, which is an essential part of your immune system, consist of protein molecules. That's the building blocks. And I didn't realize that I'm teaching this, yet I'm still believing the fact that every time when you get sick, you need to eat more veggies. No one tells you, hey, eat more proteins, because the antibodies that's responsible for getting you healthy and getting rid of the sickness is actually protein. So increase your protein intake. And that's when I started to question about every single thing that I know. And another subject that I'm teaching is business studies. So these two subjects really gave me a unique perspective, because I know a lot of the human body and how it functions, and I know a lot of businesses and how it functions. So then I started to question everything that I know, everything that we are being told on social media. And I especially watch YouTube videos where there are no sponsors or advertisements, because then I know you're just being paid to tell whatever people want to hear. And that is my story of the carnivore diet.
Well, congratulations. So, just to confirm, all of those 24 meds are now gone.
Yes, I am on no medication at this point. So, no pain medication. Plus, my doctor or the specialist said to me that my running days are over. I used to be a very active person and I love my exercise. And they said no running, no weight training, no high intensity interval training. Those days are just, it's gone. And now I'm back to running, I'm back to weight training, and I'm back to living a normal life, pain free, without any medication. And I was told that this will not be possible ever. So the carnivore diet, I know I didn't get diagnosed with terminal diseases, but I still believe that the carnivore diet, it saved my life in a certain way, because I was so depressed of being in constant pain, not being able to exercise, not being able to walk, not being able to stand upright, that I know I won't be able to live like this for the rest of my life. And I know with all the medications that I was drinking, that at some point I will have organ failures and other medical conditions that will develop because of all these medications. And now I'm saving tons of money and I'm just only eating meat. So no more medications and no more pain.
That's awesome. So, are you still seeing that doctor that recommended keto?
No, I haven't
No.
seen her. She prescribed a lot of her own natural medications, and I just felt like she she prescribes the ketogenic diet because she knows that that is going to make you feel better. But in the end, she's still a business and trying to sell her natural medication, which isn't really not needed.
Got it. Yeah. So, how long has it been for you now that you've been on carnivore?
It's been almost a year now.
Wow.
So it's on and off, because you always you miss carbs, you miss the benefit, or well, not benefits, but you miss having alcohol and socializing, and you still crave that pizza and junk food. So on and off again, I would incorporate some carbs, and then immediately my symptoms would come back, and it reached a point where I said it's not worth it anymore. I want to make carnivore my lifestyle because I just feel great and I don't have a need to drink alcohol or to eat pizza or burger anymore, because whenever I see the food, I just think of all the symptoms that I experience whenever I incorporate those foods, and it's not worth it anymore. So those cravings are just completely gone. Plus, I've always been on a yo-yo diet where during the week I would extremely starve myself and be in a calorie deficit and exercise, and then during the weekends I would just like binge eat, and I'm in this whole cycle where I gain weight and I lose weight, and it was really unrealistic. And the carnivore diet, on top of relieving all of my symptoms, it's also the only diet that I followed where you don't have cravings, you don't have your binge eating and gaining all the weight back. You lose weight and you manage to keep it off, and it's something that's very, very sustainable. You feel full, you feel saturated, you have lots of energy, your sleep improves, your brain fog goes away. So it's really it's life changing. I always say to some people that want to listen, because the whole stigma around, you can eat a pizza and no one bats an eye, but tell people you only eat meat and everyone loses their mind. So whenever someone wants to listen, I tell them, hey, the carnivore diet is like an air fryer. It is something that changes your life completely. And I would highly recommend that you try it.
Nice. So on the topic of eating in air fryers, how do you eat day to day? Are you doing like one meal a day, two meals a day?
Mostly because now you can go on your intuition and your hunger signals, because that is now not influenced by your blood sugar levels that goes up and down and messes around with your hunger signals. So I basically just eat according to what my body says. So mostly I do OMAD, so I eat one proper meal a day, but sometimes I would have the occasional more than one meal, and I just, whenever I'm hungry, then my body would signal me, and then sometimes I eat early in the day, sometimes I eat later. And it's the first time in my whole life where after a meal I don't have any pain, I don't have any bloating, and I don't feel tired. So I can eat and I can go about the rest of my day being productive. Whereas in the past with carbs, that was not possible. After you ate, you always want to take a nap and you feel bloated and you feel unproductive and your brain just doesn't want to focus. So that has improved as well.
Nice. So, I guess eating meat is maybe reasonably acceptable in South Africa, right? Because you've got that kind of braai culture.
Yes, and we have, well, overseas it's beef jerky, but we have biltong and droewors. But still, a big part of our culture is enjoying the occasional alcohol, and that is something that I cut out. And in our culture, we also have braai broodjies, which consists basically of bread and then cheese and any sort of meat and tomatoes that's being on a briar. And for me, that's just something that I have to cut out. We also, most people here live a very unactive, unhealthy lifestyle because it's quite dangerous in South Africa. So it's not safe for us to drive or to ride a bicycle or to walk in the neighborhood or to exercise outdoors and be outdoors, and it's safe. So here where I live, it's mostly restaurants and pub and grills, and that's just what people do for fun. They go out and they eat something unhealthy and they drink alcohol. So this is quite an adjustment, and you get a lot of people that don't understand. Again, it comes back to people, whenever you run a 10K or exercise for an hour and a half, people look at you and be like, are you crazy? What's going on with you? But they can Netflix and chill and be lazy and be overweight, and no one bats an eye. So it just comes back to, it's kind of like the world is promoting an unhealthy lifestyle, and that is normalized. It's normal to drink alcohol, it's normal to eat carbs, it's normal to do all of these things that's very unhealthy for you. And whenever you try to be healthy and try to improve your medical conditions, and whenever you say, listen, I have high blood pressure in my family, but I don't have high blood pressure and I'm healthy and I'm not on any medications, then you are the outcast, because it's become normalized to be on a bunch of medications from an early age.
Yeah, it's really sad that we've got to the point where it's it's more normal than not to be sick, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So have you had anyone express interest in giving it a try?
Yes. So I know a question that always gets asked is how your family reacts to you being carnivore and only eating meat. Now, my family, especially my parents, They saw firsthand how my medical conditions completely changed me as a person, where I was a glimpse of the person that I was, someone that's active and someone that's happy. I was just miserable and in pain. So I think they wanted me to get better and they wanted me to improve my symptoms. So they were very supportive from the beginning. And even me, I was so desperate. If someone were to tell me, hey, if you eat dog poop and you do 2 handstands, it will relieve some of your symptoms, I would have probably followed that advice and try it. And so my parents was, when I told them about the carnivore diet and about my symptoms improving, they were just happy for me that I found something that my symptoms were improving. And at this stage, my mom, she's also following more of a ketogenic diet because she's got arthritis. And my brother is also following a ketogenic diet because he's got high blood pressure. But they both got the goal, or the goal to also transition to more of a carnivore diet. They're just starting with the ketogenic diet, and that is all because of my symptoms and how it improved. And I watch all of these videos, and it's one of those things where you can't just keep quiet and keep it to yourself. You want to stand on top of the mountain and shout to the whole world, hey, do this diet, it really saves your life, it's a game changer. So I think through my experience, it also inspired them to just try this diet and see what it can do for them. Because I also said to them that, some of the things that we normalize, we always say, oh, I'm getting old, I'm in my 30s, so I have back pain, I've got knee pain, and it's become normal to have these things, and people would joke about it. But for me, I've realized that if you have any pain, then it's a sign that you have to look at your lifestyle and your diet. Maybe you're not eating enough fats, maybe you're not eating enough protein, maybe you're not sleeping enough, but it's your body's way of telling you that there's something wrong. It's not normal to have pain in your 30s and even in your 40s and even in your 50s. So it's not normal. We can get over 100 years old. So it's become very normalized and sterilized to have all of these medical conditions and pains. And that's why I always say to people, just try the carnivore diet for 30 days or 60 days. Then you create a baseline, because it's like being or having a very poor eyesight. You only look out of your own eyes. And it's only when you do an eye test where they tell you, listen, you only see 40%, then you realize, but there's something wrong with my eyesight. But for you, it's normal because it's your body and you've only looked out of your eyes. And that's the same with other conditions and pain. You wake up every day with a headache, with knee pain, with back pain, and later on you think it's normal. It's part of being a human, until you experiment with carnivore and you realize, or you feel how it feels to wake up without any pain. And then you will know that whenever you incorporate certain foods, then the pain comes back, and that is the cause of your pain. And you don't have to live the way you live, in constant pain with constant medications. And oh, okay, in my family there's high blood pressure, so I'm just going to have high blood pressure and high blood pressure medication as well, and diabetes and all of those things. Those things are just, it's not necessary. It comes down to lifestyle and to diet.
Exactly. And, I like I like the way you point out that, we don't have to, we're not meant to be like this, and I think I always come back to the evidence of the animal kingdom. There's no animals that get older and go, well, I'm falling off I'm falling to bits now, because I'm getting older. That doesn't happen except for domesticated animals, because we feed them the same food that we eat, right?
Yes, I've recently saw a post about all the seed oils that you found in our pets' food. And that is also something that I noticed that's really concerning, and that I came upon when I was digging and doing research, where people just came to the conclusion that animals in the wild, you don't see them often having diabetes and dying of cancer. But when it comes to our pets, then it's their life expectancy decreases every year, and they have all of these medical conditions, human medical conditions, because we give them human type of food, which is seed oils and all the stuff that they shouldn't be eating. Like canine is referred to dogs, so all dogs, the species name are canines, and felines is also like cats, and they both are carnivores, yet we feed them other stuff, and that's why they don't get old. So that's the scary realization that companies, we always believe, I was a firm believer that doctors and professionals, they are there to help us. So whenever a doctor would tell me, drink this medication, do this, I would definitely follow that advice, because that person is a specialist and a professional, and they are trained to help you. Where in the recent years, I've discovered that that's not always the case, and that's quite scary to know.
Yeah. So, at this stage, it's carnivore for life for you?
Yes,
Mm.
definitely. Definitely.
So
And my goal is to help others also to follow or a more carnivore diet, and just to help people realize that the medical conditions that they have, they don't have to follow the same path that I did, where they're on different medications to treat it. There are ways that you can improve your condition naturally. With my free incurable conditions, they said that I won't have any relief at all. And with this diet, it's like those conditions don't even exist. It's like I don't even have them, which is very, very strange. So, for anyone that wants to listen, and I feel like whenever you get to a point where you are desperate, to not rely on medication and to feel better, that is when you qualify for the carnivore diet. I really think it's something that anyone can do, and it's not a diet that will only help some people, it will help all people, because that is just how we are made. And they say that, for example, all the research that I've done, they say that people mostly they would eat berries whenever meat is not available, which tells you that meat is our main source of food, and that's all that we need. And me being living proof, I've learned that veggies are important. You can't go without veggies and fruit. You can't go without fiber. I always looked at being healthy, increasing my fiber, trying to make food with that consists of whole food. And I never really seen results or have an improvement in my health until I did the carnivore diet, which just confirms to me that that is the way to go. I know some people without medical conditions, they can still do a ketogenic diet, or they can still get away with the occasional pizza, junk food, and alcohol. But for someone like me, with medical conditions, it's better to make it your lifestyle, and it's definitely better to experience all the benefits of carnivore: the better sleep, the increased focus and concentration. Something that I haven't mentioned before, I've never been officially diagnosed, but I've always struggled with studying and concentration. And a couple of times, people who were actually diagnosed with ADHD and someone that specializes in neurodiversity, they would tell me at within 2 minutes of meeting me, they would tell me, "Hey, do you know you have ADHD?" And for me, I've always been an academic achiever, so I didn't think that there's a problem with me. And it turns out that I have a problem with concentration. And for me, 10 minutes or 15 minutes, that is my max that I can concentrate. Then I need to move around and have a break. And with the carnivore diet, I realized that I can go 60 minutes plus, so more than an hour of concentrating, and I'm not distracted, and I can just focus and work. So increase productivity, increase in better sleep. And the next part is, people always ask about exercising. So as a runner, you always know that carbs are essential for running, and it is your fuel of energy. Yet, I've experienced better performance and better times with running and weight training than ever before with the carnivore diet. And that's the next part they always get to. You can improve your health and your symptoms and your medical conditions, but what about exercising? And not only do I exercise and do weight training and cardio with the carnivore diet, but I also do it without any supplements, no pre-workout, no protein whey or protein powder or any sort of supplements. And I tell people as well, if you need to take all of these supplements to exercise for half an hour, take a look at your diet, take a look at your lifestyle.
Yeah. So, if you were giving someone advice on getting started, what would your top tips be for them?
So my top tips would be, like I said before, listen to your doctor, but do the opposite, and find a doctor which tells you, "I'm going to help you to get off of your medication," and not someone that tells you, "You won't be able to get off the medication. I need to see you on a regular basis." And then, of course, I will tell anyone out there, even if you hurt your back and you tell yourself, "I have back pain because I've hurt my back," just try the carnivore diet for a month or 2 months, preferably, or at least 90 days. Just try it and see what happens, because you've got nothing to lose. And I know people always ask about, isn't the carnivore diet expensive because meat is expensive? But the thing is, you save a lot of money because you don't have to buy all of these medications, all of these supplements, because they always tell you to buy vitamin C, buy zinc, buy calcium, buy this, buy that. And you don't need that with the carnivore diet. You get all of your essential nutrients through the meat that you eat. And so it's not expensive, and it's also very, very easy and straightforward. You cook a bunch of meat and you eat it. No need to do calorie counting and all of those types of ways that they tell you to control and do maths and all of that. You can just go on your intuition.
Very nice. So, Chané, how can people reach out to you? Do you have any social media?
Yes, I have an Instagram account in which I share my journey and how I went from someone who doesn't have any testosterone or progesterone, trying to exercise and not knowing why I'm not seeing results, to someone who went on all this journey with medication and ended up with carnivore. So that is on my Instagram account. And then I'm also going to start a YouTube channel in which I share my story and tips and advice, especially when it comes to carnivore and exercising and being active. I've realized that there are not a lot of women out there who does the carnivore diet and exercise and see the amazing results that you can get. So that is something that I want to expose people to. And then, of course, the whole medical condition side, where you don't have to resort to all the medications, and just tips and my life story, in the hope of I can inspire people to follow the diets as well. So I'm going to create a YouTube channel as well, in which I will share the link and the channel as well.
Awesome. So, I'll link to those below. Sinead, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you for having me.